Oh my.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to BMO Field in Toronto. Matt DeNicola Antonio, joined by Chantel Blais for tonight's Toronto FC II match against the Wilmington Hammerheads. It's been 3 weeks since the Baby Reds last played, drawing Harrisburg City 0-0 on the road back on June 6th. We last saw them in action here at BMO Field 4 weeks ago, playing to a 0-0 scoreline against the first-place Rochester Rhinos. The competition a little less stiff than the Rhinos tonight. The Hammerheads come to town sporting a 2-7-5 record. They're coming off a 2-1 victory in Montreal on Thursday, moving them 1 point ahead of Toronto in the Eastern Conference standings. It is a cold, windy, rainy, downright miserable night here at BMO Field in Toronto. And Chantel, how do you think the weather conditions are going to affect tonight's game?
Like you just said, it's windy, it's wet, the surface will be quick. It's very important to be accurate with your passes and keeping the ball on the ground because the wind is so strong. The ball will skid, so for both teams offensively, shoot for range because these goaltenders will have a tough time trying to catch this ball.
It's been a long 3-week layoff for these Toronto players, Chantel. How do you think that will impact the game tonight? Will it be more a matter of rust or rest?
I think this team, when I spoke to the guys on TFC beforehand, these guys are eager to get back on the pitch. They're ready to play. They have an 8-game homestand now. They're very excited to be playing in front of their home crowd. So I think these guys today, we'll see at kickoff that these guys are eager to get back into the action.
Now the Toronto FC starting lineup. In goal, it will be Quillen Roberts. He's making his third consecutive start. He is riding a shutout streak of 180 minutes right now. On the back line, it will be Wesley Sharpie, Skylar Thomas, Mark Anthony Kay, and Adam Bouchard. And midfield, Chris Manella, Manuel Aparicio, and Luca Uccello. The forwards, Massimo Mirabelli, Mobabuli, and Jordan Hamilton. Toronto FC in the all-red kits. They're moving from right to left on your screen. The Wilmington Hammerheads in the baby blue and white striped kits. They are moving, of course, from left to right. And we are underway here in Toronto between Wilmingham and Toronto FC II. And immediately, Toronto will take possession with a throw-in. Kay for Hamilton gets it back, and pressure being applied by Wilmington with pace to start this game. Another statistic to keep in mind tonight, Toronto FC, while they hold a 214-minute shutout streak right now, they have not scored a goal themselves in 321 minutes. They have been shut out in each of their last 3 matches. The last goal Toronto scored, Massimo Mirabelli, in the 38th minute at St. Louis, all the way back on May 14th. So, Chantel, how does Toronto generate some offense here tonight, knowing it's been so long since they've found the back of the net?
With the time they've had off, that's one thing that Jason Bett stressed that they were going to focus on, creating opportunities and capitalizing on them when they need to.
And we saw an opportunity there for Wilmington, as a left-footed strike was just wide of the goal. A little bit dangerous there for Wilmington, but the goal kick to Toronto. And it will be Adam Bouchard on the left side of the defense. He will push it up to midfield. It is headed back down by Wilmington. Toronto trying to work through the middle of the field, but excellent pressure there from the Hammerheads, and they will continue to push deep in Toronto territory. And Bouchard pulls down his man there just outside the box, and we'll have a free kick for Wilmington in a very dangerous area just 2 minutes into this match. Corbin Bone and Ross Tomaselli both standing over the ball right now. We'll see who's the one to take it. Very windy is that ball moving around without any help from the players right now. And perhaps you might want to have a second player in there to get things going, but it will be quickly on goal, and a good save by Roberts, and it is cleared out by Toronto, but not to safety just yet. And now Wilmington themselves will push it back into their own territory. But a good quick save there off the right foot of Quillen Roberts to keep this game scoreless in the 3rd minute. Thomas will get over there and send it out of bounds to safety. Just 3 minutes in, and safe to say all Wilmington so far.
So far, they're doing a really good job kind of switching the field and creating opportunities. Like I said earlier, shooting from range, like we just saw, the ball will be dangerous in the 18-yard box tonight.
As a defensive player, does it make it more difficult with this wet weather?
At times, yes, because even if a ball gets a little bit more pace on it than intended, that ball will go way faster than you expect, as well as going up for headers or 50-50 challenges. The wind's going to take it, or it's going to drop if you're going against the wind. So it's really important how you time your how you time it defensively.
Now the wind here, for the most part, is moving from east to west, which is directly towards the camera vantage position right now, but definitely some swirling action to that wind as well. So as you mentioned, those balls up in the air will probably be affected by that. And Wilmington still keeping Toronto hemmed in to their own territory. And it looked like a slip up there. And they're going to call it a foul, and it will be another free kick to Wilmington, very close to the corner of the field. And they'll move themselves into position inside the 18-yard box.
This can be a very dangerous ball. He has the wind with him, so it'll be interesting if he overhits this, or if he hits it perfectly. This may be a great opportunity.
It comes in now, and it's off the head of a Toronto player, and it's pushed out to safety, and Babuli had that skip a little bit far ahead of him, and Wilmington is able to maintain pressure inside Toronto territory, but it's gone out for a throw-in, and Toronto will be able to switch possession here. It'll be Wesley Sharpie on the right flank for Babuli, off the head, intercepted by a Hammerhead player, and they will keep up the possession. as Troy Cole will switch the field to the right flank. Tom Parrott, marked there by a couple of Toronto defenders, sends it in towards the box, and an interesting play there from Roberts, was unable to use his hands there as he had come out that far and had to knock it away with his head, and it's gone out for a throw into Wilmington. Excellent little give and go there. Sharpie defending well, comes back into the box, and nearly turned over there by Babuli, right on the doorstep. Was Corbin Bone, I believe, looking for that loose ball, but it will be a kick here for Roberts. I believe a foul was called on the Hammerheads as Babuli was taken down. Mark Anthony Kay, big right-footed kick to the middle of the field, looking for Mirabelli. And that's Bouchard. Now Roberts. Colin Roberts will be off to represent Canada in the Gold Cup, named to the 23-man roster for head coach Benito Floro earlier this week. And several Toronto FC2 players will also be representing their country at the Pan Am Games beginning here in just a couple weeks. Actually, while we've got a chance, we can tell you it's Manuel Aparicio, Mo Babuli, Kevin Black, Adam Bouchard, Raheem Edwards, and Chris Manella who will be on the Canadian roster. That one's headed back towards Roberts, and he will slow things down for the Reds. In midfield, Wilmington, and now Toronto has it again. Aparicio unable to find a teammate. There's Bone into the middle. It's deflected. There's a header, and that's off the side of the netting. Very excellent chance there for Wilmington. Looks like maybe a little bit of miscommunication there in the box for Toronto.
Wilmington, like we said earlier, they're coming out very strong, and this may actually be because they just did have a game. They are coming off a win, they're snapping a 9-game losing streak, and it may be catching Toronto FC a bit offside right now.
Thought perhaps that might play into Toronto's advantage being rested, but Wilmington carrying the momentum from their previous game just 2 days ago. And the wind heavy right now, moving to the south end, which is where the Toronto goal is. And we saw on that kick right there, it looked like the wind literally pushed the ball backwards. Not only just holding it up, but pushing it backwards as well. So Toronto working against the Hammerheads and against the wind in this first half. They've got the ball inside Wilmington territory for the first time tonight, and they are thwarted and sent back the other way. Sonny Jane broken up neatly there by Uccello. And this one is sent down out of bounds there, and Mark Anthony Kay will have a throw in for Toronto. The rain coming down, more of a misting than a hard fall, but will absolutely interfere with field conditions and the players themselves. Jordan Hamilton trying to win that ball for Toronto. Mark Anthony Kay does, and he's awarded a free kick. Captain Chris Manella out on the right flank. That ball knocked down. Taken over by Corbin Bone. Good challenge there from Skylar Thomas. Was named to the USL Team of the Week a couple of weeks ago. Now, that was Jane, who was tripped up by the wet field conditions and was able to regain possession, and now the Hammerheads have won a free kick again, and I'd say probably 75% of the possession so far going to Wilmington.
The difference so far is the way that Wilmington is able to switch the field. They're doing a very good job going from left to right and then right to left as soon as TFC II's defense is switching.
Looks like it will be Corbin Bone to take this free kick. Again, just outside the 18-yard box for the Hammerheads. It will actually be a left-footed strike from Martinez, and it was turned aside once again by Toronto. And now long ball there was looking for Babuli, but once again intercepted by the Hammerheads. There's a right-footed strike, comes into the box. No Toronto player able to get a foot on it. Wilmington, Bone, lofted up into the box, and Mark Anthony Kay will steer it out. Fans, become a fan of the USL on Facebook for exclusive league news and interactive content. Kay, now Bouchard. Pass knocked away. Aparicio. Babuli lost that. At midfield, Uccello. Sharpie. Manella falling there as Kay creates an opportunity for the Hammerheads. Will they take advantage? Jane working towards the corner, trying to win himself a corner, and he has done that. Sonny Jane was working against Adam Bouchard and is able to get Wilmington an opportunity from the corner here. Sent in towards the middle, and once again, a Toronto player missing it with the header, and it's sent out. I believe that was Skylar Thomas who got the touch to it, and we'll have a corner from the other side of the field. Which side of the field do you think is more beneficial to have a corner from right now, the way this wind is blowing? I'd imagine it's this side where they're about to take it from right now.
I'd agree. That ball in was a perfect ball, but if you have the wind behind you, if you, like he just did, loft it in, it's very dangerous.
And a dangerous ball there for the Hammerheads, but knocked away by Toronto. Jane still with it. The Hammerheads working in a dangerous area, and finally cleared out by Thomas, and he's drawn a foul in the process. And looks like a yellow card as well here. Our first caution of the match from referee Marie-Soleil Baudouin.
Looks like he went in there, cleats up, and as soon as you see cleats up, you're going to throw yellow out there.
Unclear on the replay exactly which player was getting the booking there. Push forward by Toronto, and again that wind just taking the ball and having its way with it and pushing this one out of bounds, and it will be a Wilmington throw-in. So given the apparent environmental conditions working against Toronto, I imagine right now you're just sort of trying to hold on for dear life and hope to get yourself to halftime without being down, and then you can take advantage of it yourself in the second half.
One thing Toronto should be focusing on right now is just playing simple. Instead of trying to do the long ball hitting your high striker, play through the middle.
There's Babuli, who was in the middle and lost possession.
We've seen Wilmington connect passes. They've connected 4 to 5 passes. We haven't seen Toronto yet put together 3 or 4 passes. If they focus on that right now and keep possession, I could see them creating more opportunities.
There's Uccello on the right flank. He was looking for Mirabelli in the middle. Broken up by a Wilmington defender. Headed back down there by Skylar Thomas. And Toronto trying to look to switch the momentum here a little bit. Mark Anthony Kay. Jordan Hamilton. Manila. Back for Bouchard. Aparicio in the middle for Manila. That pass failed to connect. And now it's going to be the Hammerheads pushing back forward. Sonny Jane looking through the middle. I believe Bone was the intended target there. And Toronto still scrambling a little bit on defense. There's a strike from distance, and it's wide of the goal. So the big story of the match so far, as we're 16 minutes in, is the weather at this point. Wilmington has had the majority of the possession and all of the good scoring opportunities of the night, and it's largely because the weather is working in their favor in this opening half. Toronto will hope to take advantage of that in the second half. It's almost like they're running and they're working uphill.
In a game like this, it isn't going to be pretty. You're not going to see, well, you may, but you're not going to see really pretty goals. If you shoot from distance and it's a ball that skids, you may just see a touch in. You may see a limb get on it, and that's how we're going to score. So with how you come out with a victory in these games is how you adapt to these conditions.
Toronto, over the last 5 minutes, though, have been looking to round into form a little bit. And as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, that might be a matter of the fact that they haven't played in 3 weeks. And getting back into the speed of a game, a little bit difficult with that long layoff.
The intensity for sure. When you're off for 3 weeks, the intensity in practice is there, but it's not a game-like situation.
Bouchard into the middle for Manella. Captain pushes it forward, looking for Hamilton. Hamilton is able to run up to it, looking for his options. Back into the middle, and back for Manella again. Right flank, Sharpie pushing forward. He's got it. There's a right-footed kick off a defender, and push forward by Troy Cole. Ball intercepted there by Luca Uccello, excuse me. And now Bouchard. Manella. Thomas. Sharpie. Again, Thomas. One touch to Uccello. On the right flank for Sharpie. He pushes forward. Mirabelli. Now Wilmington working it on the far side of the field, and will push it into Toronto territory. Skylar Thomas heads it down. Wilmington regains control. Pushed onto the near side, coming towards Tom Parrott. Now he's got it. Marked closely by Hamilton. Pushed into the box. There's a dangerous ball, and I believe they're going to call a handball. I know it's an offside. The flag's up. Looked like it might have deflected off the hand of the Wilmington striker, Brian Ackley. Uccello. Sharpie. And now Bouchard. Into the 20th minute. Still no scoring here in Toronto. Aparicio. Long cross looking for Sharpie, and he is unable to catch up to that one.
That was a good idea. And now in the last 5 minutes, we have seen Toronto FC 2 kind of settle down and start connecting passes and get majority of the possession back.
Good play by Sharpie to step up, knock that away with his head. Now Hamilton trying to control a bouncing ball, and it'll come over to Corbin Bone, and Wilmington will move on the attack. Parrott. Jane was broken up by Toronto. Babuli right at midfield. Will keep it himself, looking for Hamilton. Pass fails to connect. Manella. Right side for Sharpie. Again, Manella. Now Sharpie pushing forward. Babuli. One touch Mirabelli. Dangerous area there for Uccello, and he was tied up with Andre Campbell, and a foul on Toronto, and Wilmington will get a free kick from the just outside their own 18-yard box. Follow at USL on Twitter to become a league insider, join club conversations, and have a chance at exclusive giveaways. Goalkeeper Andre Rawls will take his time with this one and now boot it up into Toronto territory. Bouchard. Hamilton. Near side Aparicio. One touch finds Mark Anthony Kay. Bouchard. Sharpie. Babuli. Sharpie moving forward, runs up to it. Sharpie into the middle. Hamilton knocked it just wide. First good scoring opportunity of the night for Toronto. Jordan Hamilton with a redirect pushes it wide, and we have an injured Hammerhead on the field, and they will require medical attention from the training staff.
Sharpie does a really good job always going up the flank. He's a very offensive-minded defender.
Jordan Hamilton, one of 3 Toronto FC II players who played for Wilmington last season when they were the USL affiliate of Toronto FC. The other players being Manuel Aparicio and Mark Anthony Kay, so they're familiar with a few players on this Hammerheads roster. The injured player is Andre Campbell, number 12, on the far side of the field. And now he makes his way slowly to his feet. And the trainer giving the thumbs up. I believe that will indicate that he is all right and will not need a substitute for this game. Booted up by Rawls. We're back underway here. Uccello finds Babuli. Toronto pushing forward. There's Mirabelli down the right side, and he is offside. A couple of steps ahead of the defender. Right idea by Toronto, though, and as you mentioned, now into about 10 minutes here where Toronto has really started to wake up and created some more offense in these last 10 minutes.
I actually thought that was a pretty close call. It looked like he became in front of the defenders as soon as the ball was moved, so that wouldn't be offside, but they called it. What the ref says goes.
A throw into Toronto here will be Sharpie. He's been in the thick of things and creating offense on that right side for Toronto. Thomas knocks down his man, results in a foul and a free kick for the Hammerheads. 25th minute here in Toronto, still scoreless. And the shutout streak and the scoring drought both continuing for the Baby Reds so far through the opening 25 minutes. Push forward by Cole. Ackley falls, and they're going to call a foul here. Wilmington moving it quickly. Tom Parrott, right-footed strike, and that comes out. That's Roberts who came out, tried to grab it, and as you alluded to, Chantel, having a little bit of trouble with the slickness of that ball. Dropped it momentarily, but no harm, no foul on that particular play.
There was no Wilmington player close enough for it to be dangerous, but that's what we'll probably have to see in this half and as well as the second half. That will happen again.
Moved right into the box, and now good defensive play by Bouchard, and he is taken down. I believe that was Ackley and Thomas right in the middle, sort of jostling for position as the ball came right to him. And excellent defending there by Skylar Thomas. There appears to be some sort of discussion between Skylar Thomas and the officials.
The ball, it was a free kick, but the ball didn't go out of the box. But the ball has to go to the box before the defender can touch it. But it was a free kick, so I don't think that rule applies, and that's why they were questioning the call.
Regardless, Roberts sends it upfield. Jordan Hamilton off the head. The Hammerheads will take it right back. Kay is pulled down there, and they're actually going to call the foul on Mark Anthony Kay as he came together with Sonny Jane. And the Toronto player is protesting, but of course to no avail. It'll be a free kick to Wilmington. Taken by Tom Parrott. The referee moves him back to his own side of midfield. And this foul going on Wilmington, and it will be another free kick for Toronto. All these free kicks and fouls we're seeing in the first half, do you think the weather conditions are playing any part in that?
It may, like we said earlier, it will be a sloppy game. We've seen players have been falling by themselves, but as soon as you get stuck in, you're going to go down, and that's what we've been seeing. And the ref has been pretty consistent with what she's calling.
And we can see the camera is quite wet at this point, so we'll do our best to be able to describe what's going on the field that you may not be able to see through the camera lens at home. A loose ball at midfield. Wilmington will control, push forward, headed down by Bouchard, now taken by Thomas. Uccello, push forward, long ball looking for Hamilton, twists around, and now it is kicked back out to midfield by the Hammerheads. And that one staying in bounds. Kay. Aparicio, good move there to get around the defender, and he's trying to spring Mirabelli, and that ball takes a right turn in front of Mirabelli and skips by him. A little bit of an unfortunate bounce there for Toronto.
That was a great ball, great vision by Aparicio. Unfortunately, the ball did skip, and a little too much for them to get on the end of that.
Looked like it bounced in a good spot for him, and then it literally took a hop and turned right and skipped right by Mirabelli. Would have been Toronto's best opportunity of the night. Slide tackle by Bouchard. Believe there had been a foul called already, so Toronto will... Well, no, it'll be a goal kick for Roberts. Bouchard knocked that out off the Wilmington player. So Quillen Roberts will take the goal kick as we're into the 29th minute here. A scoreless game in Toronto between Toronto FC II and the Wilmington Hammerheads. Mark Anthony Kay in the middle for Manella. Kay, push forward. Knocked down by Mirabelli. Babuli unable to maintain control, but Toronto keeps possession. Babuli, one touch for Manella. Right flank for Sharpie. Middle for Manella. Babuli. Right flank Uccello. Uccello moving in, still with it. Over to Hamilton. Chipped into the box. Looking for Uccello. A little bit too much on that. And easily handled by Andre Rawls. Chantal, another thing we heard Coach Jason Bent talk about this week is now that Toronto is on this, beginning their 8-game homestand tonight, which also includes 13 of 14 at home, it wants to play a different style now that the team is at home. What exactly does he mean by a different style, and how does Toronto go about executing that?
When he said that he wants his team to become the aggressor. He wants them to take advantage of the game. Rather than sit back and let the home team set the pace for the game, he wants his side to take advantage, come out strong, not score right away in the first 5 minutes, but kind of set the pace, create the opportunities, and then capitalize when those opportunities are in the final thirds.
A little bit difficult for his side to set the pace tonight, working against the weather conditions.
Definitely. And like we said, they haven't had a game in a couple of weeks. So we've seen they did settle in. They are now playing a lot better than the first 15 minutes. So going into the next final 30 minutes and then the second half, I think we'll see the TFC II team that we have seen back on the field June 6th.
Referee says play on, and Wilmington will keep possession. Aparicio pushes back for Bouchard. He has to run back for it. Now controls. And Aparicio again. Forward for Mirabelli. Babuli unable to handle that one. And Toronto intercepts just at the outside of the box. Good defensive work from Skylar Thomas. Manella. Push forward for Aparicio. Kay runs onto it. He has some pace down the left side. Crossed into the middle. Babuli running up for it. Babuli stops it, still with it. Gets to the left. His strike is blocked by Wilmington defender. I believe it was Campbell who was first on the scene. And now Wilmington pushes back at midfield. Ross Tomaselli out onto the left flank. Move back into the middle. Nicholson pushes back into his own territory. And this comes to the near side for Troy Cole. Right up the middle. Wilmington trying to push forward. And that one's gone out of bounds. Toronto moving quickly to get it back in. Aparicio. Babuli. Manella. Now Bouchard. Bouchard back from Roberts. And Aparicio unable to corral that ball, and it's gone out for a Wilmington throw-in. The rain looks like it's picked up a little bit since we began here 33 minutes ago, but still more of a misty drizzle type of rain than a downpour, which almost makes it worse as the rain is also moving in every direction with the wind. A good opportunity there for Corbin Bone, but better defending by Toronto, and it will be Roberts throwing it out to Thomas. In the middle for Babuli. Toronto with some numbers here. Babuli has Mirabelli down the left side. He was looking for Aparicio through the middle, and the pass ended up going behind him and easily collected by Andre Rawls. Justin Moose. Right side, Tom Parrott. And that's an offside there. Just ahead of the ball was Brian Ackley on the through ball from Sonny Jane. Nike is a proud partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike Soccer information. Jordan Hamilton wins that header, pushes it a little bit too far for Babuli, and Rawls is able to collect at the edge of the box. Interesting play there as Rawls looks like he mishandled it and sent it forward, and it was intercepted by Aparicio, but he wasn't able to do anything with it either. And now Wilmington moves back forward at midfield. Referee says play on. Sonny Jane gets it back again. Campbell. In midfield, Nicholson. Nicholson pushing forward now. Good defense there from Uccello, who he's dragged down, and will be a free kick to Toronto. Toronto moves it quickly. Sharpie tries a long ball across the field, intercepted by Wilmington, and the Hammerheads in dangerous position here. Cole, actually that's Parrott rather, moves it into the middle. Found Tomaselli, now onto the left side, moving into the box, and his pass out of the box taken by Manella, and Toronto will begin a counter. Aparicio running up to it. Mark Anthony Kay joining him as well. Pushes past him, looking for a ball. Aparicio into the middle. That's Hamilton. He's unable to control. Wilmington pushes forward. Thomas steps up, maintains possession for Toronto. And going down there is Mirabelli. And I'm not sure who the foul was called on here. It might be a free kick to Toronto. Looks like it will be, and in a pretty good spot for the Reds.
Looks like it will be. Is it Hamilton going to take this, or
Looks
Babuli?
like Babuli and Hamilton both there. We know Babuli has some prowess from the set pieces. He scored a beautiful set piece goal back in the second game of the season in Montreal. And Hamilton runs over it. Babuli sends it in, and not sure if they whistled it offside there.
She called a foul, I believe.
Foul on Toronto, so it will be a kick there from Rawls. We're approaching 40 minutes here in Toronto, and despite the lack of goals and not a ton of dangerous offensive threats either, this first half has had a good pace to it and has moved along quite quickly.
It has. It has been entertaining. You can tell these teams don't really like each other. They're going to tackles quite strong, and going forward, it'll be interesting to see who pockets the first one, because that will be a game changer.
This is the first ever meeting between Toronto FC 2 and Wilmington. They have not played yet this season. And Hamilton nearly able to steal it away. But Troy Cole will control for the Hammerheads. These two teams will meet again, the final game of the regular season, Saturday, September 19th in North Carolina. So after tonight, not a quick shot at redemption. Wilmington pushing forward into the box. Sharpie with an excellent header. There's a strike, and it's wide of the goal. Wilmington trying to argue for a corner, but the referee having none of that, signaling a goal kick for Roberts. Dove to make the save, but it was a few feet wide of his goal. Never really a threat for Roberts to have to make a save. Roberts able to get that kick through the wind and down into Wilmington territory, but it is out off Toronto, so the Hammerheads will get a throw in here on the far side of the field. Brought in by Campbell. The Hammerheads begin their attack. Thomas able to dispossess, and now Bouchard sends it back for Roberts. One-touch kick all the way down to Wilmington territory. Hammerhead's able to collect. Nicholson. Tomaselli there as well, but Toronto will counter. Hamilton. Mirabelli. Sharpie moving forward. Sharpie's got it, working against Campbell. Back for Babuli. Looking for Manella, but A good intercept there by Wilmington. And Toronto with it right back. Babuli. Mirabelli. Babuli again. Aparicio. Aparicio moving into the box. Still with possession. Now he's taken down. Referee says no call. And it will be a goal kick to Wilmington. Best opportunity for Toronto. Aparicio got through 2 defenders and looked like he was pulled down there by, I think it was Tom Parrott, might have been Troy Cole. And perhaps Toronto has a legitimate gripe with that non-call.
It looked like the defender was beat, and the only thing he had to do was to foul him. And I'm actually shocked that the ref didn't call that because she seemed to be a bit whistle happy a bit earlier.
Roberts will collect now. Was looking for Mark Anthony Kay on this near side of the field, but a little bit out of his reach. And Tom Parrott will throw in for Wilmington. Wind carries that one out of bounds, and we'll go for a Toronto throw-in. Kay in for Mirabelli. Push back for Sharpie. Able to header it away to safety momentarily. Justin Moose runs up to it. Taken down by Uccello. No call. Sharpie. Now Hamilton goes to ground. And again, no call. Difficult to tell at times whether it's the contact or the field conditions that are resulting in the player going down here. As we approach the 43rd minute in Toronto. Good work there from Aparicio to win that ball, but was then out of the reach of Hamilton. Thomas. Manella. Sharpie runs onto it at midfield. Sharpie scanning the field, looking for a teammate. Now Hamilton. Hamilton marked closely by 2 defenders, and that one stays in bounds, and Campbell sends it out towards midfield. Sharpie unable to win that ball after a momentary touch. Kay pushes back for Bouchard. Manella. Manella loses control. Taken by Sharpie. Switches the field for Kay. Kay moving down the left side. Kay still running with it. There's a strike, and it curls up over the goal. And not a bad idea there from Mark Anthony Kay. Looked like he had some space, decided to go for it, and the ball just didn't cooperate for him.
Sharpie doing a great job switching the field. They were on the far side for quite some time, and that just shows it creates opportunities. Mark Anthony Kay with a great opportunity, unfortunately, just a bit over.
As you see the shot there of the rain coming down here in Toronto, it is now definitely coming down harder than it was when we began. But again, still more of a swirling, misting, drizzly rain than a hard downpour. But it is definitely making its presence felt in this match. Parrott. As the wind looks like the wind is switching directions now and working against Wilmington, as that ball in through the middle of the field looked like it just hit a wall and started moving back the other way.
It seems like both teams kind of have the wind as a disadvantage. It is not helping either side right now, and no one can really play to the wind's advantage.
Well, Toronto has to hope that it doesn't just pull a 180 and move from the south to the north in the second half, because for the majority of the first half, it was working against them. And I'm sure it would be extremely frustrating to come out in the second half and have it be working against you again. A ball up for Uccello, intercepted by Campbell. 1 minute of added time here in Toronto. As I'm sure the fourth official and All the officials and players just want to get back into the locker room. There's Aparicio with a strike, and it's well wide of the goal. And Jordan Hamilton and Fran Martinez exchanging some pleasantries inside the box there. Hamilton put the ball back into the net after it ricocheted back into the box. Not sure that's the smartest idea for Jordan Hamilton at this point in the game.
Don't really think roles like that, and maybe he was just mentally preparing himself for finishing in the second half.
Well, Jordan Hamilton has had a little bit of difficulty finding the back of the net this season. He did score the first ever goal for Toronto FC in their first game of the season, and he has been a little bit snake-bitten since then. He's had a number of opportunities. He hasn't played in every game for Toronto FC 2. He's been a reserve for the first team on a couple of occasions, but there have been several opportunities this year that Hamilton just has not been able to put into the back of the net. And now he's onside. He's moving forward. There's a strike. Oh, and a good save there from Andre Rawls. Just as we were speaking of Hamilton's inability to finish a scoring opportunity, he gets the best one of the match for Toronto and forced Andre Rawls to make a good save.
And he really did he made no mistake there. He didn't hold the ball too long. It was just a really good position that Rawls was in.
Perhaps Hamilton could have carried it in a little bit more.
One more touch, yes, and then went low corner.
And it's a goal for Toronto. It's Hamilton off the corner kick. He misses the initial opportunity, but he puts home the opportunity from the set piece in the corner. It's Jordan Hamilton's second goal of the season, and the scoring drought is over for Toronto. The first home goal for Toronto FC 2, and it comes in injury time in the first half, and that is a monumentous goal for Toronto to go into the locker room with a 1-0 lead. Excellent work there from Jordan Hamilton.
Definitely sets the pace for the second half. He makes no mistake. He created it. He got the corner, made no mistake finishing it, and going into the second half now, 1-0. It's something you can see them celebrating. They're so happy, and this is going to be a really good second half for Toronto FC 2.
Close to 250 minutes, or excuse me, over 360 minutes without a goal for Toronto FC 2. That is broken. Jordan Hamilton, his second of the season, gives Toronto the 1-0 advantage going into the second half. Will they be able to make it stand? We will find out in about 15 minutes' time. Join us for the second half then on TorontoFC.ca. Welcome back to BMO Field in Toronto. Matt DiNicolantonio and Chantel Blais here with you for the second half. Toronto FC 2 leading the Wilmington Hammerheads by a score of 1-0. A 45th minute goal, an injury time goal in the first half from Jordan Hamilton, his second of the season, gives FC2 the lead. And Chantel, how does that change the strategy for Toronto? This is the first time they've held a lead in 4 contests. How do they balance creating offense while still playing tight D?
I don't see them changing too much. They should remain defensively sound and still prevent Wilmington from shooting. But they just have to stay composed and move as a unit, keep their shape, and I think they'll be fine.
No substitutes to begin the second half. We have not yet had a sub on either side. Just one caution in that first half, and it was Troy Cole of the Hammerheads with a yellow card in the 14th minute. And Toronto right out onto the attack. Mirabelli on this right side for Sharpie. Through the middle for Hamilton. Uccello. Manella. Kay into the middle was looking for Babuli. Broken up by the Hammerheads, and they will begin the counterattack. Good slide from Kay there. Intercepts that ball. And Toronto back with possession. Uccello. Mirabelli is dispossessed. Loose ball won by Toronto. Bouchard. Kay. Manella. Now Thomas. Story of the first half was probably the weather, which has continued to trend in a downward direction here tonight. The rain has continued to fall and increase in intensity. The wind continuing to swirl, mainly it looks like moving from east to west, which is towards the camera lens again, but definitely swirling. So we'll see it, playing havoc with some loose kicks, loose balls. Now Hamilton walking toward the middle. There's Babuli. Babuli into the box, and he was not able to get a good strike away there, but he was able to win Toronto a corner.
With a late goal in the second half, you can tell TFC kind of got a wind under their feet. They are coming out strong. I thought Wilmington would come out quite strong trying to even up this game early, but TFC right now coming out very strong and setting the pace for the second half.
Well, we did notice in the first half that Wilmington had the advantage, and it looked like that may have been weather aided, and now that the clubs have switched sides, we may see Toronto gain the benefit of that. Pushed in for Bouchard, unable to do anything other than knock it with his head, and Wilmington is able to take possession and push it towards midfield. Kay unable to win that loose ball, and there's Sonny Jane, push forward, and Manella is back into the box and sends it out. Aparicio. Kay loses the handle of it there, and that might be a costly mistake because it goes out for a throw into Wilmington. Bouchard, tight defending there. Kay in support as well. His man goes down, and that is going to be a foul on Mark-Anthony Kay, and it's going to be a free kick, and Mark-Anthony Kay will have to be careful here that he does not push the issue too far and earn himself a caution. And now he walks away, and we will see the Hammerheads set up. Corbin Bone will be the one to take this free kick. Pushed in, sprawling save there by Roberts as he dove forward, and now it is cleared out by Toronto.
That was great decision making by Roberts by cutting off that ankle and getting himself involved in that dangerous cross.
Thomas, swing and a miss on that one, and he caught the Wilmington player, and that's going to be a Yellow card for Skylar Thomas here in the 50th minute. I'm not sure if this is exactly what happened there, but it looked like it may have been the ball did not end up going where Thomas thought it was going to. Well, it looked like he knocked it down, and Thomas had already wound up and begun to swing his foot forward. And you know what? A little bit of a reckless play, and I think the caution is well deserved.
Once again, Wilmington lining up for a dangerous shot right on target.
Ross Tomaselli and Corbin Bone standing over the ball right now. Bone has taken the majority of them. Now Tomaselli will reposition the ball for him. And it looks like Tomaselli may take this one. They're both lined up in a position to strike it. Tomaselli does take it. It's blocked by Hamilton, part of the wall. Second attempt off the foot of Troy Cole also sails over the goal. And crisis averted for Toronto early in the second half. For Toronto, it was a goalless streak of 366 minutes by the end of it. And their shutout streak is now up to 259 and counting. Moving forward, Wesley Sharpie with some pace. Looked to push it up to Mirabelli, but decided to keep it himself. Hamilton, marked closely by a pair of Wilmington defenders. Now he pushes it in, but passes off target. And Rawls will begin the counter for the Hammerheads. Martinez, pressured by Hamilton. We saw those two come together in the first half. An exchange of words after Hamilton put the ball into the Wilmington net when it was to be a goal kick. And you called it, Chantel. Hamilton was preparing himself, visioning putting that ball into the empty net. And he did so a few minutes later, giving Toronto a 1-0 advantage.
After that goal, I feel like he must have felt like he had the monkey off his back and kind of relieved some pressure of getting that first one. Second one for the league, but first one for him in a while.
Had not scored since Toronto's season opener, all the way back on March 21st. Now a dangerous chance for the Hammerheads. There's a strike and a good defensive play there by Wesley Sharpie as he came in and blocked that shot just as Sonny Jane was connecting. Wilmington still pressing. There's Bouchard who's able to clear the box. And now Toronto will counterattack. Mark-Anthony Kay able to slip it out on the left side for Aparicio. And Toronto will now slow things down and control the pace of the game once more. Kay, Manella. Up for Aparicio. That is out for a throw-in off the Wilmington player. And Toronto will maintain control. Kay in for Aparicio. Switches field to Uccello. Uccello looking for some open space. Finds Sharpie who runs onto it. He tried a one-touch strike, and that is well high and wide.
The off-the-ball movement was there. Great idea, but definitely not on target.
Have you visited the new USLsoccer.com? Get the latest news and live stats and check out the new social media hub. Thomas wins that one-on-one ball for the moment, and Wilmington pushed forward. Mark-Anthony Kay, excellent piece of defending there, begins the counter for Toronto. Slip through looking for Hamilton, just a little bit ahead of him. Now Wilmington has it. This will be Andre Campbell moving into the middle. Justin Moose. And now Martinez. Cole. Martinez once more. Campbell runs onto it. Crossed into the middle, looking for Jane, and that one failed to connect. A dangerous opportunity for the Hammerheads. And a good ball there from Campbell, just out of the reach.
That was a great ball, and Jane even gave him the wave, apologizing. He didn't quite get there, but that, again, the surface is quick, and it's hard to time, and you're not knowing where that ball is going to go.
There's a strike from distance from Wilmington, and that one was never close to threatening. And this rain is absolutely pounding now. Still drizzly, but a very, very heavy drizzle, and with this wind, it is all over the place. Toronto still with the 1-0 advantage. We are 55 minutes into this contest. The second home game of the season for Toronto. After tonight, they will move into their new home at the Ontario Soccer Centre. And we'll have the first substitution of the game. It is going to be number 29, Christian Basselgog, entering the match. Wilmington throw in at midfield. Good defense there from Kay, pushes it out of bounds. So just over 10 minutes into the second half here, Chantel, what have you noticed from Toronto? That might give us an indication of how they've decided to play it here in the second half.
Like you said, you asked if they have made any adjustments, and they haven't really changed how they started the game. They have improved. They've remained composed, which is a huge thing, especially going against a team who is down, and this weather is playing a huge role in this game. Another thing, they're playing shape, they're staying organized, and that's something Jason Bent always emphasizes, so they're playing to how their coach wants them to play.
Roberts well out of the goal there. A good decision as he was able to get the best strike there to clear the ball for Toronto. Now a foul on Uccello. Sorry, didn't catch it earlier, but it was Ross Tomaselli, number 7, who was exiting the game for Wilmington as Christian Basselgog enters for the Hammerheads. Still no substitutions made by Toronto. That was the first of the game for either club. And again, it's a maximum of 5 per side, and not the 3 that we are accustomed to seeing in most competitions. And Chantal, you were mentioning this off air just before we started up the second half. On a night like tonight, it's much more difficult coming off the bench, isn't it?
You're cold. You're not warm, especially going into a game that it's going to be scrappy. So like we've seen since the second half has started, both teams, the guys on the bench are doing a little bit of jogs, getting the touches on the ball, because going into a game like this, when you aren't warmed up, is dangerous. You don't want to get injured. You want to try and stay as warm as you can. And like we do see right now, they are doing that. And getting into this game, getting your first couple of touches is crucial, and trying not to kind of hurt anything is the main key.
There's a right-footed strike blocked by Toronto, and they begin the counterattack with pace. There's Mirabelli looking to move in towards the middle of the field. He pushes it over for Babuli. Hamilton was running up. Now he retreats. There's Aparicio. Some nifty footwork there, looking for an open teammate. He's able to find Mirabelli. A couple of one-touches there with Mirabelli, and then Babuli now sent onto the far side for Mark Anthony Kay. Dances around one defender, still maintains possession. Babuli marked closely there by Sonny Jane. Moved forward for Aparicio, but it's just behind him. and it will roll onto Andre Rawls and end the threat for Toronto. But some excellent ball movement from the Baby Reds, mainly Mark-Anthony Kaye.
It's always good when you have your defenders getting involved offensively. It's something that they are very used to, and it's something that's very successful for this team.
And we've seen the Mark-Anthony Kaye on the left side and Wesley Sharpie on the right side move forward with pace very well in this game. We're going to see the first substitution for Toronto here. It's going to be Marcos Nunez who is entering the game, and Luca Uccello is drawing out. So a change in midfield for Toronto as they make their first substitution of the night, as we are in the 60th minute. Become a fan of the USL on Facebook for exclusive league news and interactive content. Kaye into the middle. Nunez with his first touch of the night. Toronto is dispossessed, and Wilmington will begin to move forward. Campbell. Basagog. Sonny Jane. And a good sliding challenge there from Skylar Thomas. One thing that we know is this wet surface makes it much easier to slide tackle, and Skylar Thomas is taking full advantage of this tonight. That's the second or third time that we've seen him go to ground like that.
Some players love playing in this weather. It really does show how well your touch is, and sliding is also super fun to do, and Skylar Thomas makes no mistake, and that is, like you just said, 5 or 6 times, and that one paid off.
Some players, I guess, just really don't mind rolling around in the rain. And Skylar Thomas appears to be one of them. And he was about to collect that ball for Toronto, but he was called off by goalkeeper Quillen Roberts. Roberts will roll it up to his captain, Chris Manella. Bouchard. Kaye. Again for Bouchard. Kaye push forward. Hamilton trying to run onto it, but Wilmington defender gets there first. Babuli knocks it down. Aparicio trying to win it. Babuli trying to push forward. Smartly defended. Now Ackley with it for the Hammerheads. Pushes it out wide. Long ball looking for Jane. Wynn knocks that down, but the Hammerheads able to maintain control. Onto the near side looking for Basagog, but that ball is well out of his reach. And it looked like on that particular play, Wilmington looks like they're trying to use the wind to their advantage there. It looked like they were trying to overstrike it, knowing that it would come back.
They isolated the play. They had all of the TFC players shifted to the far side, and that's when they're going to capitalize and try and play that. But the wind was too much, took it out, and then he actually did slip, just showing how slick this surface actually is.
So an interesting strategy to try and use the elements to your advantage. Do you find more often than not that works, or you're sort of playing a guessing game trying to size up the wind, and more often than not you can't predict it and it doesn't end up working?
You can't predict the weather. You can't predict if that would work, but they did actually capitalize on the fact that Toronto FC 2's positioning was a bit off, and it would have worked out if that ball didn't go out. Not sure if it would have been a shot on target, but it did work out for them.
Roberts sends that long forward. This is actually going to be an offside as the flag goes up on Massimo Mirabelli. And that will be a free kick to the Hammerheads as we're into the 64th minute here. Toronto still with the 1-0 lead. Jordan Hamilton scored in injury time of the first half, his second goal of the USL campaign. Looks like shortly Toronto will be making a second substitution. As Edwin Rivas receiving some final instructions from head coach Jason Bent. Pushed forward, Hamilton with it again. Hamilton looking for a second. Not the greatest strike there from Jordan Hamilton with the left foot. And an easy stop for Andre Rawls. Chantal, what did you see on that strike from Hamilton?
He was in full stride and then kind of stopped, and his first touch was a bit not out of his feet, so he was unable to get a really good shot, and it kind of just went straight to the target.
Looked like he was rushed a little bit by the presence of Andre Campbell.
And that's kind of where communication is key. You should have a couple of the guys on your team telling you have time. Take the time, take another touch and carry it in, and then finish low corner.
We have a player down for the Hammerheads again. As the substitution comes in for Toronto, it is Rivas coming in and Massimo Mirabelli coming out. So Toronto has made their second sub of the night. The Wilmington player appears to be all right. And now that the substitution has been made, the goal kick from Quillen Roberts will get us back underway. About 25 minutes to go here in Toronto. Toronto FC2 leading 1-0. They're looking for their third victory of the season. Earlier wins coming against FC Montreal and St. Louis FC. And now coming up the left flank, Ackley into the middle. It's Jane, pushed over. Still in the box. Good play there by Mark Anthony Kay. It was Tom Parrott who had pushed forward, gone down in the box. But an excellent play from the Toronto defender thwarts that attack. Ball thrown in and moved out by Toronto. Hamilton taken down there by Paul Nicholson. Wins a free kick for Toronto. The referee indicating exactly where she'd like this free kick to be taken from. And Roberts will push forward. Looks like he's going to take it himself and moves it over to Bouchard. And he sets up the play. Kay dispossessed. There's Sonny Jane. Jane pushing through the middle. He has some speed, pushes it out wide to the right. There's a strike, and it's off the head of Bouchard and away to safety. Basagog collects for the Hammerheads, pushes into the box. Sharpie marking him closely. It's loose there and cleared out by Skylar Thomas. And Toronto will counterattack. Manuel Aparicio. He finds Edwin Rivas up on the left flank. Rivas stops up, and he has that knocked away from him by Tom Parrott. And perhaps Edwin Rivas, the legs off the bench, not quite there just yet, not into the flow of this game. Campbell receives back from a teammate, knocked down by Rivas, and that's a handball, and will be a free kick for the Hammerheads. Push forward by Wilmington. Switch field to the right side. Excellent play there by Manella to knock it down. And counter for Toronto. Nunez. Nunez has Sharpie moving up the right flank. He hits him in full stride. Sharpie leaves for Nunez. Nunez trying to find Sharpie once more, but Basagog was there to interrupt that. And Sonny Jane trying to move it forward for Wilmington. Ackley knocked down by Thomas. Thomas has to be careful. He's got one yellow already in this match. And that would be a disaster for Toronto to pick up a second yellow and go down a man when they're trying to defend this lead.
And that's why staying composed and keeping composure for the rest of the game is so crucial for TFC II right now.
Wilmington continuing to push forward. Played into the box, a little bit out of the reach of Jane. Roberts slides up and knocks that away with the right foot. A little bit of a risky play there from Roberts. He has had a tendency in this match to wander from his net. And you have to wonder if that might come to cost Toronto at some point. Mostly been smart decisions so far, but with these weather conditions, you just never know.
Roberts is known to have a very aggressive style of goaltending. And in the most cases it does work out. In that place, he was a bit out of position to do anything but then go in and just kind of clear it on his own.
Toronto moving forward. That ball looking for Hamilton. A misplay by the Wilmington player. Hamilton unable to get a clean control of it and will have to stop up and wait, and that allows Rawls to get back into the net. Hamilton still with it, though. Pushes it on goal, punched out by Rawls.
In that case, he was in no angle to really go on target. He should have put it on the ground. He had two players right in front of the net, and in that case, it didn't work out for him.
Looked like a little bit of a surprise opportunity for him. The Wilmington defender mishandled it, and he had a mini breakaway, but his first touch was a little heavy, and he was not able to get good control of it. And as a result, he had to stop up and wait for everyone to join him. Now Wilmington pushing forward, and that's a reckless challenge there from Hamilton, and that might be a booking. It is. Not sure what Jordan Hamilton was thinking on that play. Pulled him down with both hands on his shoulders.
But it wasn't like he was the last player there. It was a poor decision, and he had support. I don't really know why. Frustration maybe and fatigue, but not the right decision.
So the second yellow of the match for Toronto. Skylar Thomas and Jordan Hamilton now both with a yellow card in this match. About 20 minutes to go for Toronto. That one's knocked out, and that will be a corner kick. Last touch by Mo Babouli. And so down by a goal, the Hammerheads will get a set piece from the corner and an opportunity to possibly tie this game. Follow at USL on Twitter to become a league insider. Join club conversations and have a chance at exclusive giveaways. That ball comes down into the box, but smartly played out by Toronto. And we're going to have a goal kick here, a foul being called against the Hammerheads. And it looks like a third substitution will be made for Toronto. Daniel Fabrizi has gotten up and moved towards the
I'm assuming he'll be coming in for Skylar Thomas. Since Skylar Thomas does have a yellow, why risk it and get him removed for the following game?
It's going to be Manny Aparicio who is coming out. So the third of 5 substitutions utilized by head coach Jason Bent.
And Aparicio, such a strong game. He was a very offensive force for the team today, and he did a really good job.
Daniel Fabrizi, the former York University Lion, entering the game. And as mentioned, it is Aparicio who's drawing out Marcos Nunez. He was the first substitute used by Toronto. He's in control now. One touch for Babouli, tried to get it back, but it was out of his reach, and no foul called. And it's last touch by Andre Campbell, so it will be a corner to Toronto. Looked like Nunez. I was expecting to hear the whistle. Marcos Nunez being called for a foul there, but none came. And Toronto will have an opportunity here. And it's going to be Babouli to take the corner. Toronto scored off their last corner at the end of the opening half. Jordan Hamilton with the header. Looking for it again, and there's going to be a foul called here on Toronto. So even if it had gone in, it would have been disallowed. But a dangerous-looking ball from Babouli on that corner.
And Matt, when you asked if TFC II has changed their style of play, with the change with taking Aparicio out and putting Fabrizi in, you're changing your center mid to be more of a defensive type player. Now you're playing to hold your win. And seeing Aparicio come out and have Fabrizi in, you'll see a more defensive style of play by TFC II.
Wilmington is going to counter with a couple of substitutions as 2 players have now gotten up and look like they are ready to enter the game. Cody Arnoux, as the ball comes down in the box once more, and it's going to be a penalty. A handball in the box, and it will be a penalty kick for the Hammerheads. And tough break there for Toronto, and Wilmington will have an opportunity to pull level. It's going to be number 19, Corbin Bone, who will take it. And is Quillen Roberts up to the task? Bone steps up. Saved by Roberts! And cleared by Toronto.
What a huge save by Roberts. One of the reasons why he is consistently on the USL Team of the Week.
Corbin Bone stepped up, and he shot to the bottom left corner of the goal. Quillen Roberts guessed right and made a spectacular save. And we will see these two subs for Wilmington coming in now. Andre Campbell is one of the players drawing out, as is, I believe, number 6, Brian Ackley, as well. Number 21, Will Heaney, coming in. There's a chance for Toronto. Rivas! Not sure if he was trying to pass that across to an oncoming Nunez.
It was a dangerous pass. If it was a shot, it was not on target, but that's a perfect pass on the ground, and in the weather like this, that's a pass that you should finish on.
Just to finish up on those substitutions, Will Heaney, number 21, and number 14, Mark Godelman, coming in for the Hammerheads. And Andre Campbell coming out, and I believe it was number 6, Brian Ackley, is the second player to be called off. So each side has used 3 substitutions. Again, allowed 5. So 2 more remain for each club. Again, just moments ago, Quillen Roberts with a glorious save off a penalty kick from Corbin Bone to maintain the 1-0 scoreline. Foul there on Wilmington. Chris Manella taking the ground, wins the free kick for Toronto as we move into the final 15 minutes of this match. Mark Anthony Kay pushes forward, up for Jordan Hamilton. Hamilton able to get around a pair of defenders. Still controls Babouli. Babouli pushing forward. Gets around a defender. Babouli looks like he's in a shooting position. Takes a strike. Stopped by Andre Rawls. It was a good strike there off the left foot of Babouli.
He was patient. They were giving him the space, so why not take the shot on target?
Long ball crossed, perhaps looking for Basagog, but knocked down by Sharpie. Now Sharpie will push forward. Babouli on to Nunez. Nunez is onside. Nunez pushes forward with a strike, and it's high and wide. Another sub coming here for Toronto. It is number 63, Liam Frazier. He will be taking Adam Bouchard out of the game.
Bouchard, another player with a very strong game. He kept the back line strong, and he should be very pleased with his play.
Liam Frazier making just his second appearance for Toronto FC2. He made his debut on Saturday, June 6th against the Harrisburg City Islanders. Started and played all 90 minutes in that game. A Toronto, Ontario native, as many of the Toronto FC2 players are, playing for their hometown club.
And when I spoke with the players previous to this game, so many of them are so happy that they can finally start having consistent games at home without the travel and then being able to play in front of their family and friends.
Well, we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, it's an 8-game homestand which kicks off tonight. 1 game on the road in Montreal, and then another 5-game homestand. So 13 out of the next 14 are at home. All 14 are in Canada. So very little travel for Toronto, as they're going to hope to make up some ground in this Eastern Conference playoff race with a long string of home contests.
And it's very different. Taking away the road, that's you're staying at home, you're sleeping in your own bed, you're at home, you're having your own food. It's different when you're traveling, you're always on a bus, and it's just something that people prefer playing at home.
Basagog pushing forward, sent into the middle, into the box. Excellent defending there from Thomas, and Toronto clears back out to midfield. And we start to see the Hammerheads push forward with a little bit more numbers here as we get into the late stages of this match. Ball knocked down there by Fabrizi. And Mark-Anthony Kay into the middle for Babuli. Now Hamilton. One touch, was expecting Babuli to run up to it. I think that was the intention, but Babuli got tied up with his opponent. Now Sonny Jane. There's a strike. Good save there by Roberts. May have been going wide, but not a chance he's able to take. And that will be a corner for Wilmington as we are now into the 81st minute of this match. Just 10 minutes to go for Toronto as they hold on to this 1-0 advantage. Another substitution coming in here for the Hammerheads. It's number 17, Cody Armu. Nike is a proud partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike Soccer information. I believe Paul Nicholson, number 8, is the player who was taken out as part of that substitution. Off the corner, Roberts goes up for it. I don't think he made contact with it. Luckily for him, it rolls all the way out of bounds, off a Toronto player somewhere as the throw-in goes to Wilmington. Cleared there by Fabrizi and back out to midfield. Throw-in will be for Toronto here. Mark-Anthony Kay looking for Edwin Rivas. Didn't connect, but off a Wilmington player out of bounds, so they will repeat the procedure. This one won cleanly by Wilmington and now sent out of bounds. Kay to throw in again for Toronto. Looking for Hamilton that time. Sonny Jane has it for the Hammerheads as he moves forward with some speed. Run up to by Godelman. Sends it into the box and cleared there by Liam Frazier.
Sonny Jane being the most consistent offensive force for Wilmington right now, but Toronto FC2 defense doing a very good job shutting him down.
Even late in the game, still very good speed being shown by Sonny Jane. And now Toronto at midfield. Not the greatest pass there, back towards their own territory and stolen by Wilmington. That's off the head of Frazier and booted downfield by Fabrizi and out for a throw-in. Toronto content just to kill the bit of clock here. As we're into the 84th minute, about 6.5 to go for Toronto. Looking for the first ever home win in Toronto FC2 history. Wesley Sharpie knocks that down, sends it back to Roberts. Nunez pushes it forward, just out of the reach of Jordan Hamilton with a header. And at midfield, that's Martinez. Met smartly there by Liam Frazier. That allows Toronto to counterattack and find Nunez. Nunez trying to cross it, and it's off the foot of a defender. And that will go out for a corner. Fifth and final substitution for Toronto, Stefan Vukovic. And it looks like it's Mo Babuli who is coming out. So one of Toronto's big playmakers will be subbed off. And it will be Vukovic who will take over for the final 5 minutes. As a result, we will see either Liam Frazier or Chris Manella take this corner. Both are standing right there. Frazier, long ball, played through, was looking for Hamilton on the far side of the box. Knocked down by Wilmington, unable to clear. Toronto still applying some pressure here. Comes to Frazier on the right side. Nunez, now Manella. Pushes out wide for Kay. Mark-Anthony Kay, Rivas, one touch back to Kay. Kay continues to push forward. Now stops, tries to get around a defender. And good job to win that and keep it in bounds. He moves back forward into the box, makes another move. He's still with it. Mark-Anthony Kay finally dispossessed by a Wilmington defender, and if nothing else, Mark-Anthony Kay, again, killing off some more of that clock, keeping the ball inside the Wilmington territory, not allowing the Hammerheads to counterattack, and Toronto will maintain possession here. Manella into the middle. There's Nunez. Nunez moving into the middle, thought Hamilton was going to go forward on a little bit of a run, and the ball was out of his reach as Hamilton had stopped up. Now Wilmington able to start a counterattack up to midfield. A little bit out of the reach of Basagog, but Wilmington still with it, and Liam Frazier with a slide there to knock the ball into touch, and Basagog will throw in. Nunez up for Hamilton. Hamilton pushes out wide to the left, a little bit too far for Mark-Anthony Kay. And this will go all the way out of touch, and another throw in for the Hammerheads. Will Heaney gets it back once more, crossed into the middle. Thomas with one touch sends it back towards midfield. Hamilton fights off a defender, frees it up for Manella. And Manella's second attempt also knocked down by the Hammerheads, and they will continue to push forward. Thomas once again stepping up and clearing that out to midfield. Under 3 minutes plus whatever added time for Toronto.
And one thing with Wilmington, how they got their win against Montreal was a late goal in extra time. So you have to know they are playing to the final whistle.
And Roberts not able to handle that cleanly. And then it looked like he may have been taken down by the Wilmington player, but he is yelling at somebody right now, whether it's his teammates for better positioning or the referee. Regardless, he has cooled himself down and will take this kick and sends it all the way into Wilmington territory. Foul called on Jordan Hamilton will result in a free kick for the Hammerheads. Referee insisting they start from farther back inside their own territory. We are in the 89th minute in Toronto. A sparse crowd at BMO Field, likely because of the atrocious weather conditions tonight. All USL regular season and playoff games available live, free, and in HD on YouTube. Connect with the USL YouTube channel today. Ball rolls to Skylar Thomas, and he will clear it out for Toronto. Toronto absolutely just trying to kill clock at this point.
And they're doing a good job rather than just kicking it out and clearing it, which at times we've just seen that is needed. But like we saw, Mark-Anthony Kay taking on three defensive players, him being in defense, is really nice to see, and it just shows how they are just playing composed.
Move down all the way onto Andre Rawls. And Wilmington will look to mount another offensive attempt. Mark Anthony Kay makes a mistake on that one. Looked like he tried to clear it on a volley and just missed it. And Wilmington keeps possession. That's Jane moving into the box. Liam Frazier sticks out the right foot and intercepts that pass, turns and boots it out of bounds.
Once again, Jane just showing how dangerous he can be.
Nunez able to knock that forward with a header. 3 minutes of added time here in Toronto. Basagog moved into the middle. Looking to take a strike, and a good defensive play there from Mark Anthony Kay will allow Toronto to clear, but just to midfield. The Hammerheads pushing everyone forward. One man in the back, and then the goalkeeper. And that's a foul there on Vukovic. And Wilmington will take the free kick and push everyone forward. The goalkeeper, the only one not in front of the ball at this point. Played into the box. Nunez heads it away. Attempted bicycle kick there. Goes for naught, and Toronto, again, clears to midfield. 1 minute played in stoppage time. 3 were added. Hamilton pushing forward for Toronto. Had Nunez in the middle of the field, tried to take it himself, and was unsuccessful. Heaney. Long attempted cross, knocked down by Edwin Rivas. Dispossession there by Toronto, and they will move forward. Vukovic and Manella. Hamilton up there as well. Manella at this point, I imagine, will try and carry it into the corner. No call there from the official as we approach 2 minutes added of the 3. Long ball push forward, knocked down by Kay. Now push forward with his head. Wilmington, to this point, unable to penetrate deep into Toronto territory in stoppage time. We are about a minute away from the final whistle. Mark Anthony Kay boots that off the head of Tom Parrott. Vukovic trying to win that loose ball. Instead goes to Wilmington. Knocked down by Kay. Very strong game from Mark Anthony Kay, offensively and defensively tonight.
He was very involved. He set up some offensive opportunities as well as held it very strong with the back four for Toronto FC 2.
Again, able to knock that one away. It's out to touch. Will be a throw-in for Wilmington. We are approaching the 3 minutes of added time at about 2:50 right now. When will that final whistle come? Offside whistled by the side referee. Actually, it was a foul on Toronto, so this will be a free kick for Wilmington.
This looks like it could be the last opportunity to tie this game for Wilmington.
We are over the 3 minutes of added time, the minimum 3 minutes of added time. So quite possibly, right, Chantel, that this will be the last gasp effort for the Hammerheads.
They even have their goaltender in the 18-yard box.
One player remains outside, about 20 yards back from the edge of the 18-yard box, jostling for position. Here it comes. It's knocked down, and Rawls was unable to get possession of that. Mark Anthony Kay will lob it forward. Rawls is out of the goal. He's not able to use his hands here. Nunez, it rolls wide of the goal. And there is the full-time whistle. The first ever home win for Toronto FC 2, 1-0 over the Wilmington Hammerheads in their second home game. They come up with their first home win, and that is now 3 consecutive games with a point, with a result for Toronto FC2. 3 consecutive games with a clean sheet for Quillen Roberts, and this was a very sound game for Toronto on both sides of the ball.
The weather conditions weren't pretty, but the way Toronto FC played was remaining defensively, the defensive shape remained strong, still clean sheets, and finally pocketing some goals. They should be happy and pleased with this win, coming away with 3 points.
They broke a shutout streak of over 250 minutes, of over 360 minutes, and they extended the shutout streak to now over 300 minutes in total, and again, 3 consecutive clean sheets for Quillen Roberts. As Toronto beginning an 8-game homestand tonight, they will continue that next week as they move into their new home at the Ontario Soccer Centre, and they hope to maintain some momentum with this win tonight. For Chantal Blais, I'm Matt Antonio. Thank you for watching this evening, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday night.